So, India has just placed a massive billion-dollar bet on its air defense. And, this isn't just any purchase. It's a high-stakes geopolitical chess move. And right at the center of the board is some of the most controversial military hardware in the world today.
And really, it all boils down to this fundamental question, doesn't it? How do you secure your borders and your airspace when you're navigating the really complex rivalries between global superpowers? Well, it looks like India's answer involves writing a check with a whole lot of zeros.
$1.1 billion. Let that sink in. An investment of this size isn't just about buying gear. It's a massive statement about India's strategic priorities and its absolute commitment to modernizing its air defense shield.
And all that money is going towards this, the Russian S-400 Triumph. It's a weapon system that's just as famous for its capabilities as it is for the controversy that surrounds it. And let me tell you, a purchase like this sends some very clear signals to both friends and foes. So let's get into it.
What is this deal really about? Because it's easy to see that headline and think, oh, they're just buying more S-400 systems. But the reality, well, it's a lot more nuanced and, frankly, a lot more interesting than that. Okay, so here is the single most crucial point to understand. India is not expanding its S-400 footprint. What they're doing is making sure the systems they already have, which they've nicknamed Sudarshan, have enough missiles to be truly effective in a real, sustained fight. This is all about firepower and combat readiness, not just collecting more hardware. And if you look at the timeline here, you can see this is all part of a very deliberate long-term plan. The original deal for 5 regiments was way back in 2018. Delivery started in 2021. So this new missile deal in 2025, it's timed perfectly, ensuring that as those last 2 regiments arrive in 2026, the entire force is locked, loaded, and ready to go from day one.
So why is this system worth $1 billion resupply? To get that, we've got to look under the hood. The S-400, which you might know by its NATO name, the SA-21 Growler, isn't just one type of missile. Nope, it's an entire integrated system designed to cast this nearly impenetrable net over a huge area. The raw numbers here are just staggering. I mean, a radar that can detect something 600 kilometers away, that means it sees threats long before they're a danger. It can track up to 300 different things at once and engage dozens of them at the same time, with missiles screaming in at Mach 14. This thing creates a defensive bubble that is just incredibly difficult to get through.
And this right here is the secret sauce. It's layered defense. See, the S-400 uses different tools for different jobs. You've got the Monster 40N-6E missile, reaching out 400 kilometers to take out high-value targets. Think AWACS planes or bombers. Then you have the medium and short-range missiles to clean up anything that might slip past. It's a whole tiered defense, all in one package.
Here's another really key difference, this time in philosophy. America's top system, the Patriot PAC-3, uses what's called a hit-to-kill vehicle. It's basically a smart bullet hitting another bullet. The S-400, on the other hand, uses high-explosive fragmentation warheads. That means it detonates and creates a massive cloud of shrapnel to shred a target. Why does that matter? It gives it a ton more flexibility against a wider variety of threats. Anything from stealth fighters to cruise missiles to drones.
Right, but a $1 billion deal with Russia doesn't just happen in a bubble, especially not in today's world. This move forces India onto a very, very delicate geopolitical tightrope. This is what India officially calls its foreign policy, multi-alignment. And it's basically a refusal to be locked into just one camp. So at the exact same time India is getting closer with the US, Japan, and Australia in the Quad, it's also maintaining its decades-old, time-tested defense relationship with Russia. The S-400 is probably the most powerful symbol of that strategy in action. And, of course, that immediately brings up the elephant in the room. What about American sanctions? There's a law called CAATSA, and it's designed to do one thing: punish countries that buy a lot of military gear from Russia. And here is the calculated gamble. You see, the original 2018 deal actually got a waiver from the US, mostly because of the shared strategic worry about China. So the expert thinking now is that since this new $1 billion deal is technically just a resupply under that existing contract, it probably won't trigger a whole new round of sanctions. It's a risk for sure, but it's one New Delhi seems ready to take.
So, let's move beyond the specs and the geopolitics for a second. What does the S-400 actually do for India on the battlefield? How does it fundamentally change the strategic reality in one of the most tense regions on the planet?
I think this quote from a retired Indian air marshal just nails it. This isn't just another small upgrade. Inside India's defense world, the S-400 is seen as a truly transformative, game-changing capability.
Let's break down what that means. This system creates this huge no-fly zone. Its powerful radars can literally peer deep into Pakistani and Chinese territory, tracking their jets almost from the moment they take off. This forces any potential enemy to completely rethink how they'd even try to conduct an air war. It changes the entire doctrine, from simply reacting to an attack to deterring one from ever starting.
Okay, so with this massive investment now locked in, what's next? What does the future hold? Because the S-400 isn't meant to be a standalone weapon. It's really the crown jewel in a much bigger vision for India's air defense.
Think of it like this. The S-400 is the top layer, the long-range guardian. But underneath it, India is plugging in its own homegrown systems, like the medium-range Akash and a future long-range system from a program called Project Kusha. When you put it all together, you get this dense, multi-layered, fully integrated national air defense shield.
And let's not forget Russia's side of this. For them, this deal is a critical lifeline. With all the Western sanctions, a billion-dollar sale to a major power like India isn't just good for the economy. It's a huge political statement that Moscow isn't totally isolated. It reinforces a partnership that's managed to survive decades of massive geopolitical shifts.
So India has secured its shield. The real question now is, can it keep walking that fine line between Moscow and Washington? And you have to wonder, now that they've gone all in on the S-400, you can bet that military planners in New Delhi are already looking very closely at Russia's next-gen S-500 system. Because in the world of air defense, the game never, ever stops.